Okay, so this is the design everybody's been wanting right here. And we want to change the size of what our card type is. This one right here is perfect for Uno. There's just a 1.5 mm or so clearance on either side of this. It's its dimensions in length and in depth, so that when it closes on top of it, it's still got the thickness right here, which is a substantial amount here, and then snaps in place. Perfect. Okay, but now we want to do playing cards. So then what? Well, now we need to first, if we don't know how to, we're going to measure our object. Then we need to download a 100 mm ruler and print it like I did. So then we'll measure it out and we'll say length of 89, width of 64, and depth of about 17 to 18. We roll things off into even numbers is what I do. So 64. So now what we got to do, taking the file here. Okay, well, let me get this recording for everybody here. Okay, so now we're doing it on the computer as well. We've got our file open. We're going to call this playing cards. We're going to call it deck of 53, because you're going to have your Joker card in there also. I believe is why we do that right there. Okay, and then we're going to take a block here. We're going to place it in here, and we're going to place it inside our thing here, and we're going to make it the depth that we want. And we said we needed 64. Woo. 64. That's wide. By 89 in depth. Right now it's not fitting in there at all. So here's what we want to do. We're going to look down the edge here, right along here, and we're going to give ourselves, let's select it first, and we're going to give ourselves some room. Okay, and then that's going to be our anchor corner right here. So now we'll take this, we'll look at it, and it's 150 right now, right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to lengthen that. Until we can get something that's pretty equal on both sides. Let's zoom back in here and look at that right there. Now we're going to take this and we're going to move it back over, give it some room. And it looks like we got some room looking down this edge. And it looks equal. What do we got here? A whole number? 175. No, we're going to make it 176. Want to even it out. And then this one right here will be 64. Okay. So let's take that and let's now move that over. And it should be equal on both sides. Okay. Now let's look at the depth here. We're looking at this side right there. That looks like a good width there. So now let's take it over here. Again, we're going to use this corner as our anchor. So we want to extend this. So see, you can see it's right there. Oops. Take that and let's open this up just a hair. Okay, there and there. What's the number on it? 106. And that needs to be a whole number of 90. Okay. Now we got a good fit right there, and then we've got the distance, the deck right here. This one's at 20. So if I was to do the 17, okay, that's our block of cards right there. That's our deck of cards. Okay, and now here's the thing. We want to make sure that this is sitting inside what we've got. It can't be down below, but it's got to have that right there. And so we've got a little bit of a grace So now what we're going to do is grab hold of this and we're going to drop this down to height. And if you look, you can see now we've got a big gap down there. So now let's lower our deck of cards again a little bit. There's touching, there's not. Now let's grab hold of this and let's drop it down some more. Okay, we can see through the top and we can see through the bottom. I think that's pretty good. You could almost drop that to 26, I think. 26. That's perfect. So now our deck is sitting inside with some grace, and the top can go on with some grace. You know what? I'm not sure about how much grace that is. I like that 28 a little better. Okay, so there, now we could actually extract our deck of cards, and now we can just delete it. And now that one, although it's off center, let's grab hold of it and let's re-center somewhere right in there a little bit. Okay, now here's the thing I want you all to realize. You've now widened that right there, but if you run this into Cura, it's actually got a footprint that is larger than the printing space. Okay, that's important, especially at least for a Mega Pro. So see that gap right there in between there that I don't want, but these two are grouped together and you can't ungroup them. So here's what you do. Okay, and you'll want to probably do this too if you're going to do the playing cards. You're going to duplicate this, and we're going to bring it all the way over here. Okay, now this may seem a little methodical, but here we go. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this right about right there. And I'm going to run this out to here. And I'm going to take this, because these are two different ones. I'm going to bring that open right there. I'll take that, and then I'm going to bring this out to here. And then I'm going to raise it above there, and I'm going to make that a hole, clicking it, and then now I'm going to shift and attach it to this one right here, and it should take that away in a moment. Sorry, there we go. Okay. It didn't do both of them. I was thinking it might not do both of them. So we'll just grab a hold of this one. Bring it outside. Because one was attached to the other. So let's make this a hole and attach to this one and group it together. I think that should do it. Okay. I did that a little backwards, I believe. I think you get what I'm doing. Now I can bring this over and I can get it real close. Okay. It can be separated by just a bit. Not much. And just, I believe that one right there. We'll put it right there, I believe. Okay. So now they're close together. Now you can regroup them. Click on that one. Shift. Click on that one. Group them together. And now those are ready for exporting. We're going to call that a deck of 53 and we're going to export STL. I'll show you my setup on what I do. Okay, now I'm going to just double click on this and it's going to open my Cura. Okay, so here's what I've got. There it is, very thin, much different, wider and thin, compressed, and fits inside. That wide gap, it actually did not fit in there. So I had to move them in. That was the fix to that, in case you run into it. I believe that's exactly what needed to be done. Okay, so let's look at my settings here. My infill, I've got as 10%. I had this down to, on one of them, I'm not sure which one it was, but it was 5 millimeters, okay, in a zigzag. That's all I changed, was the infill to 5%. All right, and then on build plate adhesion, I've got a raft, okay, and then I have this air gap of 0.3 millimeters. Okay, that's very critical to at least my prints have ended up being pretty dang good. I am nailing every print right now. I'm not doing a lot of leveling, and I'm actually just, I'll show you my method. You'll see it as I build these tutorials out, which can be long and lengthy. I guess I'm gonna have to try to do a bunch of editing to do that. Okay, so now, no supports, obviously. 2 millimeter draft style build. Okay, which, you know, it's a fine build, but I can see where it might be better at high quality. It's gonna double everything. But let's slice it up. 6 hours and 37 minutes. I could get this loaded and I could put it in. In fact, I may go take that in there in just a moment. All right, this would conclude the computer tutorial. Basically, I would be then, here's one thing I will go ahead and say. All right, let's do this. Save to disk. And we're gonna call this Deca 53 in documents, okay? So now I can go ahead and close this out. Yeah, okay. So anyways, there's that. Doing NASA. Okay, so let's go in here and let's look at the printer here. Okay, but now I've got me some blue Overture PLA. It's kind of a matte color. I'm loaded in there. I've done a couple builds. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go to my setup and my axis, put it on high speed, and I'm going to raise this bad boy up out of the way. And I'm going to have to go get that file transferred over to the card. I didn't do that yet. Okay, so that's out of the way. Let me get this here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to preheat to PLA. Okay, it's heating up. So let's get in there. Let's we might stream this. Let's get our camera in ready and in place. There's a couple things here. I've been making these coin tops. You put the thing in there and spin it. There's a pill box. This was a 3D printy, I believe it was. It's not got a very good closer. And my fish whistles. So now let's go back. Return. Print. Deca 53. Print. And it's close to temperature, so we haven't got long to go. What I'm going to do now is just right here for a moment, and we'll get us out our kids' school glue right there. This happens to be the disappearing purple right here. It's got a little bit of a buildup. I'm going to get my microcloth. This is what I usually do. Get my microcloth. And I know it's a pretty big build, so I'm gonna take this and just go over just giving something for the raft to stick to, and then the print will stick to the raft, and that's it. Okay, I did hit this the other day, but it was back and forth a little bit, but it's not so out of level that it's not doing the print even at full size right there. There was a little lifting right over here, and it separated into a second one, but I had just reloaded, so I let it extrude out, and then there was a gap, and then it did a full line, so I just washed it, moved it out of the way. But you always want to observe your first layer, which is what we're going to do. Extruder temperature is almost up to temp, and the bed temperature is already up, and it's just fluctuating between 60 and 59. Extruder is at 200. So let's check and make sure we don't have anything sticking out, which we do. We want to get rid of that. Probably start here any second now. There we go. A little self-leveling there at the end. Did our little taparoo. Of course, there's a lot of machine noise. All right, so let's start our raft. There we go, just starting to extrude. Nice solid line. It just started and then it did it. It took a moment to get started, but when it started, it was a full, complete amount. This new Overture PLA is fantastic for adhering properly. Stronger durability, which to me is what allows me to call for a 5% infill. And so obviously at this point you know how long this is going to take. 6, 7 hours, 8 hours to do. So that's it. I'm going to have a perfect raft, and I'm going to have a perfect build every single time. I keep this level, and I can get print after print after print after print after print. And sometimes I'm even just reapplying this and getting print after print after print after print without leveling or cleaning the bed. And I'm taking this and creating a powder that I'm just wiping off with a microcloth. The method works, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna stop, maybe do a little fast forward, and we'll get back to you. So now we finished printing, so we're going to extract this bad boy off of here. Put my fingernail underneath it. Okay. It's pretty thin because I make it a thin layer. Find a good spot across the grain of it. This will be a little tough right here because it's thin.
one. Come on, what the heck? I got thing flying in here. Okay, so it looks like I got just a little bit of left over here, so I'll just sand that down for now. Do a little post work on it here later. Put a few fibers on there. Anyways, here's our bottom. Here's our top of deck of cards, and then that fits on there. It's a little thin, but as you open it up and you play, you know, they get warped a little bit. It'll fill in a little bit better, or you can make it where it's very tight, but there you go. So now I've got one deck of cards, two deck of cards, Uno, business cards, all different sizes. Just using the method I have shown you in this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.